Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Anybody having or growing a business needs to find out, or at least have some level of awareness about what we're going to talk about right now. And that's financials. It's finance, how to run your numbers within your company. One of the questions that I get asked a lot by students is, I just closed my first deal and I got hit with $30,000. What do I do? Do I put it all into marketing? Do I spend it? Do I put it under my mattress? Do I invest it? What do I do? Right? At the end of the day, knowing what to do and how to run your business by the numbers, is really the thing that's going to give you sustainability, right? So we have to have structure in place. And I always talk about systems. I always talk about, that kind of stuff, right? But this is a financial structure. It's a very simple and financial structure that you can implement right now, even if you don't have a team, if you don't have a staff, this is just a way of managing your money that's going to make sense. And it's going to make you profitable on every single deal. You're not going to be at a loss just because of the way the thing works. So I'm very, very excited that I can bring that to you guys. You probably heard about the profit first mentality. David takes it to a whole nother level when it comes to that. And it specializes like specifically for the real estate industry, which I think it's going to be really, really good to tap into some of that information. So David, thank you so much, man, for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having me on. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, so your background, now you are the founder and CEO for Simple CFO Solutions, which is Chief Financial Officer, stands for, CFO.
Mm-hmm.
But you started in real estate back in 2012, right?
Yep, that's where I started. Did my first deal after reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad in college. A good friend gave me the book. Yeah, right, exactly. That's what
you got the bug. You got the virus, the real estate virus with that book.
Yes, I did. Gave me the bug back then.
It's impressive, brothers, to say the least. From 2012, you bought your first house then, and then to date, now you sold that, everything in real estate, right? You transition into your CFO business, but you were part of 851 transactions throughout that time frame. You were definitely not sitting back on your laurels during those years, and you've done it all, right? Acquisitions, dispositions, the marketing, everything, and you decided to focus on one of the most important aspects of real estate, which is learning about the money and figuring out where the money goes.
Exactly. That's one of the areas I thought was really lacking too, of people that can just communicate with a real estate investor on the finances and give them an ear, because it's such a personal thing, people's money in their business. It doesn't matter if it's business or personal. It's very personal to the owner and to that person. So I was just like, it was a huge need that I saw doing those deals, and then going to all these masterminds, during that time too, and just being like, hey, I want you to have a bottom line too, and not being just about the top line.
Well, exactly. And I think, having clarity on that bottom line, the revenue, right? How much is not only how much are we making, but how much are we taking home? Like, that's really what matters. What are you putting in your pocket, and what is your lifestyle look like? Is it sustainable based off of that amount? It's something that's, I don't know. I think we should all start there. I know I didn't. I was running from the, how do you say it? From the cuff. When it came to financials, sometimes putting bubble gum to make ends meet and whatever, and tying loose ends like that. But it's important to have a real structure of how to manage the cash that comes into the business. It's still, I don't understand why it's not an actual class, right? In a regular educational curriculum, how to manage money management. We have economy, we have all these things, but money management, something as relevant as money management, because I didn't understand a lick of that when I came into putting my own business together, and it was challenging to say the least. So you developed the whole profit first mentality, but specifically to real estate. And you have a book on that coming out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, indeed. And I love what you just said there, that there's no class for money management, because every entrepreneur is in the same boat, unless you're like the 3% who got an accounting degree and then went into entrepreneurship, which is few and far between.
Right.
Unless you had something like that, then you didn't get any training. That's what I love about Profit First too, because it's not an accounting course. It's not this boring, dry, let's sit down, talk about balance sheets, profit and loss. No, it's talking about your cash. How's the cash move through your business? How does it matter to you as the entrepreneur? So that's what got me hooked on it when I first read it several years ago. And then it lit me up to get it into the real estate world, because that was like Raphael said, in 2012, I did my first deal. And like, if I would have done this system way back when and had it then, man, I don't even want to think about like where we could have been now, like with a system like this. That's why I'm so passionate about getting this message out of, and yes, you need to pay yourself. You need to be able to actually have a system to manage that cash and have it be super simple for the owner to follow. So that's why I went to the original author of Profit First, Mike Michalowicz, last year and said, hey, like we've been implementing this in real estate investing businesses. It has been phenomenal what we've seen happen and the changes. So could I get real estate investing out there? Like I want to, write a book specifically for the real estate investing world, because there's definitely nuances and, I'm just passionate about this and this is my background. So I'd like to, write a love letter to the real estate investing community of like, hey, I'm
feeling the love right now. Like you're
right?
genuinely passionate about this.
I really am, because so many people read the Robert Kiyosaki books and read about the rat race, but then we get into the real estate rat race. We're living deal to deal, stressed out, can't make the decisions that we should be making decisions from fear, that just puts us into just a horrible tailspin in our business. And then that's where it's like, there's a way out though. And there's a way out for you as an entrepreneur that is finally just on the bottom shelf. Here's a simple system that you can use so you don't have to worry about the money as much anymore.
Right. And I mean, it's foundational. It's foundational. We're in this, we get into, wholesaling, we get into real estate, into, whatever it is that we're doing as entrepreneurs at the end of the day, right? Whatever it is that we're doing, we get into it because we're trying to find, level of freedom. A lot of times it just gets, we get caught up in the financial freedom part of it. But what about, the time freedom? If you have something that's only producing and you don't have, real control over the finances, you can't really step away from it. Right. And I mean, that's my argument 24/7. We can't, the hustle is only going to get you so far. You have to be systematic about the process of your business. That's one, but the process of the money management, like that's if not, I think it's even more important. Yeah. So why is it, I mean, somebody getting into business, somebody coming in fresh may have, the idea that, oh, you know what, I don't need that because I'm not ready for it. I don't need to worry about that kind of stuff because it's, I'm barely starting to generate. I only do 3 or 4 deals a month. So I'm okay. I'm doing, this and doing that. But there's a lot of justification sometimes to set up a good structure. And on the financial side, that's even more rare, right?
Oh yeah.
So why is this so important to just, for the tribe and the people listening out there, like, why is this so important to set up right out of the gate?
Probably the best way I could describe this is someone that I had on my podcast who's a very influential person in the real estate world and very successful. And I had him on my Profit First REI podcast. And he said, if I would have set up Profit First when I first started real estate investing, I'd have $5 million more in my bank account right now, like cash. And so like after I picked my jaw up off the floor, started asking him more questions. But that was the most revealing thing to me, was this was someone I respected, someone who's been following the system Profit First for a while. But he said, if I would have started this at the beginning. So that's why I already had the bug of like making and helping entrepreneurs and the real estate investors with their money. And then that just lit another fire of like, man, if you're doing one deal right now, or 1,000 deals, it doesn't matter. 1,000 deals a month, get this system now to stop losing out on the profit you're already making.
Is it something that I mean, and I'm trying to just kind of pick out things out of it, but how difficult is it to really implement and run a structure like this on a fresh business?
On a fresh business, it is super easy because the whole system, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go into it. Profit First is all about the mindset. So the first thing we've all heard, like pay yourself first. All the Robert Kiyosaki books, all the money books, all the books you've probably read, Richest Man in Babylon, things like that. That teach you need to pay yourself. A portion of all you have is yours to keep. Well, and that's the same thing with Profit First. It starts with that mindset. We get the improper mindset from a lot of different sources, accountants, bookkeepers, maybe even some communities that we're a part of. It's sales, minus expenses equals profit, meaning I make a sale, everyone and their mother gets paid, and then my profit is what's left over, you know, and that if anything. But the profit first mentality and formula is sales minus profit equals expenses, meaning I make a sale, I wholesale a deal, or I get that income into my account. Then I take my profit first. And then what I have left over is for the business to survive and to grow from that. And it's that mental shift that has to happen. But sometimes it doesn't happen just by hearing it. Because if it did, then you'd be fine reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and all these other books, and you know you would be paying yourself, and you wouldn't be super stressed about the money. What I love about this with Profit First and Profit First for real estate investing is the teeth behind it. Of here's a practical way to do that. How do you make a profit the habit inside of your business? How do you make profit a habit inside your business?
I love that.
And how do you do that? What we do is like the envelope system. If you've heard of that, like for your personal finances, you know, divvying out money into different envelopes, same thing for your business. You need specific bank accounts that are specifically for you, the owner's benefit, making sure that you're taken care of, you know, the company's healthy, cash healthy, and then it has what's left over. So what are those accounts? It's number one, an income account. So that is just a holding account, like a holding bucket. Income comes in or deposits come into that account and wait to be transferred until you transfer them to the other accounts that I'm going to tell you about. Then the next ones to set up is what I call the golden trio, which I'm a pretty typical human being. I like Harry Potter and like Star Wars and these big epic sagas. Well, your life is an epic saga. You know, like your business is your epic saga. So in those epic sagas, they've got three heroes usually, like Luke, Han, and Leia, or, you know, Harry, Ron, Hermione. You know, they've got those heroes that are always pushing the story forward for good. Well, in your business, that's what I call these golden trio of accounts. It's profit, owner's compensation or owner's comp, and then owner's income tax. Those three bank accounts are specifically for the benefit of the owner. Profit is for the risk that you take of starting the business. It's for the time investment, the blood, sweat, and tears. That's what that account is for. The owner's comp is if you're in the business, if you're working inside the business, you should be paying yourself for the seat that you sit inside the business. So that's what that is, making sure you're compensated. Then the owner's income tax, making sure that you're saving for taxes throughout the year. If you don't have a bunch of rentals or whatnot, if you are wholesaling and making a ton of money, then you're going to be paying taxes. So it's that third account, you know, so you got to have an account there. So that way you're not scrambling at the end of the year saying, oh shoot, I got to wholesale 5 more deals just to cover this stupid tax bill. So those are the 4 first accounts: income, then that golden trio, profit, owner's comp, owner's income tax. Then the 5th one is the operational expense account or OPEX account. That one is just for what's left over to be able to pay the expenses of the business. So you have those 5 foundational accounts. And that's, if you read Profit First, you'll hear that. But in Profit First for real estate investing, I have another account that I like to set up as that's foundational. And we call it the OPM account. So if you're ever taking other people's money, even to double close, like on a wholesale deal or whatever it might be, like if you're getting transactional funding and people are ever wiring you money, then put that in a different account than your operational expense or like any of those other accounts, because those accounts are what you're running the business on.
Right.
Where the OPM
numbers are not getting swayed. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't want to get it all commingled and then just have it be a big mess there. So those are the accounts, but all that contributes to, because I'll go over, you know, the common objections there, but all that contributes to the mindset I talked about a few minutes ago. Is this is how you make profit a habit. You set up a system like this where it comes into the income account, then you push out the money to the profit, the owner's comp, the owner's income tax, and to the OPEX account. And you make sure that you do that for every single deal from now to the end of time, or whatever income that you're producing, wherever it's coming from. Make sure it goes into that income account and then transferring it out. So you have true cash profitability in those accounts there. And that's how, when you start to see this, like I was just on a podcast the other day and the guy said, you know what? I set this up 2 years ago and I set my profit account up and I forgot I had it there. Like it's at a different bank, set it up. And I looked at it and he's like, oh shoot, I totally forgot. You know, I've been looking at this for like 6 months and it had skyrocketed past, you know, 6 figures and like just where he was then. And he's like, this is amazing.
It's a little different than finding $5 underneath the couch.
Exactly. He was like, I can't believe like we've had this on autopilot and I haven't even been looking to see what this profit account has grown to. So it was just it's that peace of mind, to give back to this is how you make it a habit. You'll start to see, oh shoot, this really works after you've implemented it and held yourself accountable to actually transferring the money on every deal. And you'll see that the account start to grow.
Well, I love it, man. I love the fact that you have an OPM account, other people's money account. I hadn't thought thought about that at all. So I think it's genius. One thing that it does too, and this is how I'm running my personal finances. My accounts, my businesses have, we're running through the profit first model. I don't have an OPM account, so I'm going to be applying that here pretty soon. Awesome. And it's but one thing that it did for me, for example, running it like this was, I'm taking profit out, but it also forces me to operate right on a set budget, and you get creative. Yep. Even though the money is there, it's no longer mine. If it's in my personal, if it's in my profit account, my paying myself accounts, it's not the business's, right? So I should be using the money from the business to operate the business, not taking money out of my pocket. That's how a business runs. And it forced me to run when my budget was tighter, when I was building it up and everything. It would force me to run my campaigns just more effectively, right? Think about allocation of funds and then running, the budgets and creating all these things and then just running more efficient and more effective. Like it's one of the things that rewired, that I got rewired. If I got hit with a $50,000 check, I wouldn't, at the beginning, before having structure, I would, okay, cool, I'm going to dump it all and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then next thing you know, like my profits are just all over into the marketing, like my profits, my personal profits. And it's just, everything's a mess, right? But segmenting it out like that and understanding what goes where forces me to operate on that at that level. Yeah, if I want a $50,000 marketing budget, I know I got to increase that account. I don't take away from the profit that I'm already making. Right. It's sometimes it's it's maybe easier said than done, but it's doable. Like you get to that point where it's doable.
It is doable, and you set that up. Like I said, sooner you set that up, the better, the more benefit you'll see as time progresses, and you keep running this system. That's where, like what you said, they're running lean. What everyone wants in their business, in order to have true financial freedom or any type of freedom, you have to have control over your business. Absolutely. You have to have that control. You have to have control there to have freedom over here. And that control, this helps put that back in your hands. Like it shows you, Rafael, you were just saying that. Like now I run leaner on my business. It forces me to look at this from the business owner point of view and run lean and run like efficiently to make sure that I'm paid, that the business is profitable. And now I'm intentional with every dollar that comes through my fingers now, instead of being like, oh, this looks good over here, or this, like this marketing over here. And I see that I have this in my one big account and let's just go do that. It's like, this forces you to think and say, and, take a couple steps before you pull the trigger on things. And some people have said, well, I just want to keep reinvesting. I just want to keep reinvesting in the business. And that's where I say, okay, up to this point, has that helped you sleep at night? Has that helped you get to where you want to be? Do you have any cash, like that you're taking out? Are you struggling for air right now? Or like, do you know that that's coming from your profit or like from the growth that you've generated? So it's like just those things that give control back to the owner.
From an organizational standpoint, and absolutely completely agree. From an organizational standpoint, you also have the one of the biggest dangers is uncontrolled growth. Like sometimes we'll come across a big, massive deal and we close $150,000. Like, what do you want to do? I want to scale, take over the world, and ramp up my marketing, and I want to do 3 more states. And you go crazy like that, right? But what that is it's uncontrolled growth. And I think this puts you in a place where you mitigate some of that. Like it prevents you almost from having uncontrolled growth. Why? Because you're allocating the budgets. Exactly. You're allocating the budgets, and you got you pick up a pace of putting money into each of the each account. The OpEx account is working. That means that your marketing budget is going to be dialed in. You're going to have some stuff there, but what you can count on, right? And you can. I love the fact that I can jump in, look at the accounts, and it's better than looking at QuickBooks. We have trailing. And that's, it's trailing data, right? Anytime we look at a P&L, it tells us what happened. If you're on it, it tells you what happened the last 30 days, right? But it's never a to the moment type of deal. Right. unless you rerun reports and whatever. But the fact that you can jump in and then just look at the accounts and see exactly what's what, like, okay, cool, this is healthy, this is healthy, this is healthy, what's going on over here, and then still see your account grow because of the allocation. I mean, that to me is it's brilliant. It's such a simple concept, right? It's a little bit. I think it's a little tricky to just kind of start getting into the habit of it, but it's the easiest way to effectively manage the financials of a business. I haven't seen anything that's better, at least in my experience. So
yeah,
I love it.
That's why I love this system, the simplicity.
How did it change your game? I mean, when in terms of business, when you started implementing, give us like an example.
Yeah, I love this personally for me because I have a fractional CFO for my business because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And when I started my business, I
just to clarify, a fractional CFO is somebody who comes in, it's a chief financial officer,
right?
But it's almost on a part-time basis, right?
On a part-time basis. So this is not a full-time $150,000, $200,000 person on my team. This is someone that's, comes in on a regular basis, monthly, at least a monthly basis, and we're looking at the finances together. And for me personally, it was liberating because of the mindset of like, I still had some limiting beliefs, even while I was first getting this business started, even while I was first implementing this, even in my business, I still had some limiting beliefs of like, we're growing. Is it okay? Like I'm running on profit first in these percentages of like what I can take for myself or what I can take in profit. And the business is growing. Is it okay that I'm taking more out? Like, am I going to hurt the business? It was like, okay, I want to make sure that we're okay. Even though the bank accounts say we are and everything, but I want to have another set of eyes. So it was like getting them in to look at that and then just have a conversation of like, hey, I know we're doing this for everyone else, but I want to make sure that, hey, we're good, we're okay. And as we grow as the owner, that this is okay to do. And he's like, yes, this is exactly what the business is supposed to do for you. Like this is good to see. And it's fine to be able to grow and to scale. So for me, it was breaking some of those ceilings early on, where if you're not having those conversations, you might not be breaking through the ceilings that are holding you back right now from that massive growth and from growing profitably. Because like you said, it's that uncontrolled growth or that the growth that's just out of control there. It's making sure that we are growing and that we are scaling and that it's okay where we are. And that was huge to me, huge having someone else to be there to help me and guide me because, like I want to make sure that what we're doing is right and that we're strengthened internally. So there were several breakthroughs that I had along this journey, and we still are seeing them like for our business and the other businesses that we're working with, just that, there are constant psychological breakthroughs of, okay, now I get it. Like one of the biggest things we hear is now I feel like a business owner. Like now I truly feel like a true business owner. And these aren't people that have an accounting degree at all. Like these are just like you, they're going out, getting the deals done, putting the team together and whatnot. And now that they have control over those finances, and that was a big light bulb for me too, putting this in place was I can clearly see, can open up my bank accounts, see where I am. And you know what? I feel more in control. I feel like a true business owner. So that's one of the things that just a couple things on my personal journey, working through this system. And then some of the people that we've worked with, just the things that we've heard.
It's interesting that you say that, man, because it's, for example, to me, when I started making and just earning more, it felt off.
Like, oh yeah, right.
Okay, why do I have this amount in my? I mean, shouldn't it be going back into marketing, back into the business, back into something? It almost felt wrong to take the profits out of it. Yeah. And then it came owner's draws, right? Every quarter we're doing owner's draws. Is like, I don't want to, like, I don't feel like, I felt like I was stealing from somewhere. But my mindset wasn't there, right? My mindset wasn't really, fine-tuned for profitability. It was fine-tuned for hustle and then building a business. But at the end of the day, like, what do we want, right? What are we working for? This is just a methodical way of shifting that mindset and getting you to a point where your company is actually producing what you're meant to produce, what you want to produce.
Exactly. I love that. And I love the word that you use there, stealing. It felt like I was stealing from the company, which is so funny because that's what we hear everywhere.
Yeah.
But then we don't realize the other end of that spectrum that happens with everyone is you're stealing from yourself.
Yeah.
If you're pumping everything back in to the business, You are stealing from yourself. And then then you might feel okay because this is what everyone does, and like you are feeling okay. But then you go home and you're super stressed because you don't have money. And like, hey, why am I doing this? Then you start questioning yourself.
I'm doing this, working 18 hours a day.
Right. And then, like you feel bad for taking money out, but then you're stealing ultimately from yourself if you're not taking that money out and like just pouring everything back in. And that's not the way to live and grow the business and truly get out there and make sure that you're putting fuel in a plane that's that's going up rather than that's going down. So that's where if we keep pumping money back into it and we're not healthy, you're just putting in a plane and you're going to go down faster.
100%. I have the in the industry that we're in, right? Especially like, for example, we're wholesaling. We have a lot of students that come through and then they'll close their first deal. You have 20, 30, 40,000, $50,000 in profits. And I mean, it's more than they have ever, had at one lump sum for most cases. Right.
Yeah.
And the first thing, people get nervous. I see it. Students actually get nervous. Like, I don't know what to do with this. What do I do with it? And a lot of times I've seen students just go back and then pour it all into marketing. Some people just take it out and they spend it. And then, they have to start all over again. Everybody has their own thing. Right. But at the end of the day, I think it really becomes to that financial IQ. You don't have to be, you don't have to have 17 master's degrees in accounting. You don't have to be a CPA. You don't have to, if you have a basic structure that that you can rely on, and from your first deal, even if you take that and then put it into place and start off the right way, building a business and building the principles, at every level behind it, one of the very tops, being, the financial acuity, you're going to do okay. You're going to be fine. It's going to be a normal thing because that's what your business does.
Right. I love what you said there too, because if it's like their first deal and they're making $50,000 on this wholesale deal, it's akin to winning the lottery. If you don't have a system, then you're going to do what you think is best with that money. And up to this point, unless you've had someone to help you guide you through the financial part, because a lot of coaches are great intentions, like they're trying to get you to that $50,000 deal and have that financial freedom. But then we don't talk about what to do with that money. Like, yes, you did your first deal. Okay, what do I do with the money now? And that's where I love the profit first system, being able to just say, here, just have a simple thing, like divvy it out across these accounts.
This is what you can enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you can enjoy this money. But then if you want to keep going the business, like if this isn't your last deal,
do whatever you want with this other stuff is not yours.
Exactly. Exactly. Going back into the business. And then it gives you a system. Then you feel like that business owner rather than the lottery winner who goes out and blows all the money on, like you said, either side, back into the business or all on themselves.
They definitely need profit first. So let me I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I want to just get a little bit more clarity on the structure of it. So we have a couple of different accounts. You already mentioned those. So we have different sets of accounts. How do you break down the percentages when you're allocating to each one of these accounts?
Great question. There are targets, they're called TAPs, target allocation percentages, or to transfer to these accounts. And that depends on the size of your business. If you're just starting out, I would do 5% to profit, 50% to your owner's compensation, because it's probably just you and you need to be compensated, 15% to that tax account, the owner's income tax account, and then 30% to the OPEX account. So running your business on that 30%, just when you're starting, because you probably don't have other people. If you're trying to get into full time, this will give you a target to shoot for to get rid of that W-2 job if you still have it. So starting with those percentages as targets, that's the key word there. That I do not suggest you start at those percentages if you cannot sustain it, because you need to be able to see where am I right now? If this is your first deal, you might be able to do those percentages because you still might have another job, or you might, this or that. Right. You might be able to start right at those targets. But if you aren't, like, let's just say you're a few deals into it and you're like, okay, I've already transferred some money, or I've already spent some money from these deals. What I would look at was we call a super easy instant assessment, where you literally say, how much have I made in the last, let's say 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, like pick a date of what would be most relevant to you, like when you started and how many deals you've done. How much did I make in that time period? How much did I keep for myself? And then the rest is what my business had to operate. So if I made $100,000 and I took 20,000, that's 20% that I paid myself. Like, get some baseline percentages of where you are currently if you're already doing some deals. So that way you can see, okay, this is what I started off doing. Like, I did pay myself a little, or I poured, maybe you didn't. Maybe it was 100% back into the business. So there'd be a big fat goose egg, 0% for yourself and 100% to OPEX, but just getting those percentages and then lining them up next to the targets, which if you buy Profit First or Profit First for real estate investing, we give the targets in there of like, depending on the size of your business, what you should shoot for percentage wise. But the first thing is, where are you right now? Get what are called current allocation percentages. What are you currently allocating to the different buckets, and get those first if you've already started. And then you will want to do a plan of, okay, how can I get closer to these targets? Because those targets are a lot more fun. You're going to be paid more. Your business is going to be running efficiently, and you're going to have that peace of mind. Like, hey, we're actually a healthy business.
Yeah, no, man, it's mind blowing, really. The what a simple shift like this can do, right?
Yep.
For your own personal finances, but for your business finances as well, and those, like, everybody around it. Think about it. You have a good structure and you have a solid base where you can build up. Everybody around you is taken care of. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You're not running around with like a chicken with your head cut off when it comes to figuring out your numbers. And I think that's important in my book.
Oh yeah,
very important.
And you don't have to spend a ton of time. This is, I'm very passionate about this, but I'm just trying to beat in your head. If nothing else from this podcast, open one bank account, call it profit, and transfer 1%. If you just get into the habit of being profitable, that's the whole point. It's not about the bank accounts. It's not about those. It's about you shifting that mentality and starting to see it work. So that way you buy in completely and say, okay, now I see the power of this system. But that's what I'm trying to do. This does not have to take a ton of your time. You as the owner need to be out there doing the highest and best thing, which is getting the deals, putting the team together, managing the finances from a high level. So that's why I like this system too, because once you set it up, the bank account setup might take you the most amount of time, because then on a weekly basis, if you're wholesaling a deal a week or a deal a month, like, do the transfers as those deals come in or on a set time during the week and transfer that money. So it doesn't have to take you a ton of time during the week to actually do this. That's what a lot of people, that usually slows down their mentality of like, oh man, you're hating this so much, like I should just focus on this. Well, no, focus on setting it up and then getting into the habit of doing it, on a consistent basis as your deals are coming in. And then it doesn't have to take you much time at all. Then you've got your finances, you get that peace of mind, which I always equate it. Like I said, I'm a huge nerd. I love all the movies. Forrest Gump, I love that this system is like when he's sitting on the bench telling the lady he got the letter back from Lieutenant Dan. And he said he invested in me in some sort of fruit company, turns out to be Apple. And he's like, we don't have to worry about money anymore. That's one less thing. That's what I feel like this system does. It creates one less thing for you to worry about, because you've got a lot of other things inside of your business that you're just go, go, go. Let's not have the money management be one of those things, and another stress where you're like, okay, now I have to think about the money and like where we are right now.
100%, man. At the end of the day, life's like a box of chocolates, right?
Right.
But we can figure out the financial aspect. See what I did there?
Yeah,
what I did there?
I did. Yeah, that was good. I like that.
That was pretty good. But you don't have to run from the cuff, right? When it comes to financial, it's important. It's important to figure out marketing. It's important to figure out conversion and acquisitions and everything else, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't have a good control over the capital, the balance, or the stability, the sustainability, more importantly, I think never comes, because you don't know what that looks like. So hugely valuable, man. I love it, bro. It's right now, just breaking that little system down, I think it's gonna plant a lot of seeds in people's heads, and more importantly, I think having the awareness now for anybody who's listening that you can do something about it. Your accounting is not done by your CPA; it's really done by you. Why? Because you run your numbers on your company, 24/7. They may come in and then put together P&Ls and then pay the taxes and do whatever, but at the end of the day, the health of your business, the lifeline of your business, the dollars and cents that go through it, they're ultimately, our responsibility, right? So if we can set up something in place that gives us a good picture, we're able to take more educated decisions, figure out what's what in the business, and then really execute and own a business as opposed to running from the hustle, which it's one of my lifelong battles. And yeah, I appreciate everything, man. This breakdown it's super, super, super valuable. And you do have a book on this coming up. So I want to highlight that and emphasize that everybody should be getting a hold of that book as soon as it's available. Tell us a little bit about that, where people can find it, or more information on this.
So Profit First for real estate investing. So if you're doing any type of real estate investing, I want to get this into your hands just to give you that peace of mind. So this is, if you go to simplecfobook.com, whether you're listening to this when it's already out or not, you can pre-order or order the book from there. Simple CFO book.com. And that has, like you can buy bulk or whatever to pass it out to your friends, just get them on their solid financial footing there. So that's where they can go to get the book.
Beautiful. It's going to become a standard in my businesses. I'm going to buy and give it to all my staff. So awesome. That's awesome, man. I love it. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, reach out, ask you any questions, where's the best place to find you?
Simple CFO Solutions.com. So if they go there, they can find how to work with us, how to interact with us. I've got my Facebook links on there, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that type of stuff, so they can interact with me personally. I have a Facebook group, Profit First for Real Estate Investors. So it's a private one. So just say, hey, I was on, I heard you on with Rafael, can you let me in? We'll let you in there. And we're just giving a bunch of tools in there. And just I go on live with some people who ask questions, things like that about the system, if you ever have questions. And then we have the Profit First podcast too. If you just go to simplecfosolutions.com, one of the links at the top says the podcast, and interviewing a lot of people that have implemented this as real estate investors and how it's impacted their business. So just to give you encouragement.
Wow, man, I appreciate that. That was pretty low key what you did there, but we just got the hookup on that private Facebook group.
There you go.
So drop the name. I feel important now. Yeah, I was listening to Raphael's.
There you go.
And now you have VIP access. Yep. To something amazing. So definitely take advantage of that. I love it, man. Thank you so much for all the nuggets. Before we sign off, there's one question that I love asking. It's if you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what would you tell that David?
It's a great question. Besides read Profit First or come up with the idea at that point, I'd probably say, more introspectively, forgive yourself. Just be emotionally intelligent, learn more about that earlier on in life, and read more about that as you grow and scale right now, because that was one of the things I started reading, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that stuff up front. And then later in life too, probably 5 or 6 years into that, I got into other types of personal development books. So probably just reading some of those books and those type of stuff up front more.
Breaking into it early on. I love it, man. I love it. Well, once again, David, thank you so much. We're going to have all your contact info in the show notes. So anybody out there listening, reach out, make sure that you at least take a close look at this, because this is something that can truly be a game changer in anybody's business. With that, I'm going to say it's a wrap. Stay focused. Awesome. You got this. Boom.